day everyone. This time I'm going to discuss about the methods of tree cloning. So first we have here the methods of cloning, which is the clone, cuttings, grafting, layering, and tissue culture. So let's discuss this one. So first we have here the clones. What is clone? So what is cloning? So cloning is to create an identical copy of an adult plant. So these identical copies become young plants that in turn become an adult plants that can be cloned again. So this process can go on definitely. So most common methods of cloning plants, and the one has been used for a very long time, is that of taking cuttings from an adult plant. So cloning is much like broadly defined to mean as a duplication, which people clone plants all the time, and some plants even produce and clone themselves. So this process can go on indefinitely na mas easy lang po. So next we have here the cuttings. So what is cuttings? So cutting stem or leaf that is cut from an adult plant. So the cutting is then planted into moist soil or another moist growing medium. So the cutting will produce roots of its own and then become a whole new plant identical to the original adult plant. Not all plants can be cloned via cuttings though. So cuttings are, so the question is, are clones the same with cuttings? So actually a plant cutting, also known as striking or cloning, so used as a technique for vegetatively propagating plants, in which a piece of stem or root of the source plant is placed in a suitable medium such as moist soil, planting mix, quartz, or rock wool. So cuttings are one of the simplest way in producing a new uh, original um, new plants. So next we have here grafting. So graft is a branch of one tree fused onto the trunk or root of stock or another tree. So many fruit trees sold commercially are grafted. So many times farmers graft fruit trees such as apple trees to the root stock of the local tree. And they do this because the local tree has a stronger root system that can be survive the local weather, whereas the apple tree by itself may not survive. So grafting, that's grafting. So to graft the apple branch, the farmer makes a cut into the trunk of the base tree rather, and then sticks the apple branch in it. So sometimes a nail is put into a place to keep the grafted branch into place. And after grafting, and the rootstock tree provides the grafted tree with water and nutrition. So while the grafted tree ends up growing and giving fruits. Um, so grafting rather, you can actually graft several different trees onto one root. So this is how you get those trees that give you several different kinds of apples on one tree. Just take a look at the picture. We have here the picture 1, 2, and 3, 4, 5. That's the easy steps on how to cut different trees on one root into a trunk. So next we have here the layering rather. Um, to move forward layering, so I would like to say what is the main advantage of cloning plants from cuttings. So plants are cloned to produce identical plants quickly and economically. So producing new plants by cloning is quicker than allowing plants to produce than collecting and sowing seeds. Just like cuttings and grafting it. You can easily just put another plants into a new one in a simplest way. So next we have here the simple layering. So what is layering? So layering involves taking the stem of an adult plant and wrapping it in soil or other rooting medium while it's still attached to the parent plant. So sometimes the gardener will make a small cut in the stem, put rooting powder on it, and then wrap it up with a moist growing medium. So after roots begin to form, this stem is then cut from the adult plant and it becomes a whole new plant identical to the original. So layering is a way to propagate a variety of plants that are difficult or impossible to root from cuttings. So some plants naturally clone themselves via layering. So strawberries, for example, will send out runners that, when layered, will root and turn into new clones of the original strawberry plant. So next, we have here the tissue culture, one of the methods of cloning. So often involves growing new plants in a controlled environment. So these may be plants that we have genetically altered in some way or made plants which we need many copies all exactly alike. So these small species may come from a single mother plant or they may be the result of genetic transformation of single plant cells which are then encouraged to grow and to ultimately development into a whole new plant. So tissue culture techniques are often used for commercial production of plants as well as for plant research. So tissue culture involves the use of small pieces of plant tissues or explants. Kanang gagmay ra pod na koan plant tissues. So which are cultured in a nutrient medium under sterile conditions. So using the appropriate growing condition for each explant type. So plants can induce to rapidly produce new roots and with addition of suitable hormones, new roots. So these plant teats can also be divided, usually at the shoot stage. So to produce large numbers of new plant teats. So the new plants can be placed in soil and grown in the normal manner. So tissue culture process, otherwise known as micropropagation, which helps you to grow multiple uniform plants in quick succession. So example, the oil palm banana. Another one is the eggplant. We have here also the pineapple, a rubber tree, a tomato, sweet potato, and that have been produced by tissue culture in developing countries. So that examples are produced in many developing countries. Then so we have here one of the examples of cauliflower florets in particular give excellent results since they can be grown into a complete plant in the basic tissue culture media, so without the need for additional growth or root hormones. So green shoots are generally observable within 3 weeks and roots develop within 6 weeks. So next we have here also to sum up all the discussions we have here, I quote, so learn character from trees and values from roots and change from leaves. So there is not a lesson we cannot learn from nature, right? So if we open ourselves and try to learn the possible for better opportunities, then we're aiming uh, the right functions to the community. So who might knows we make sell and bloom at the same time. So I am always humbled by the wisdom provided by the nature courts. So the beauty it provides give us the satisfaction, no, especially if we know how to appreciate other trees by even planting a new ones. So that would be all. Thank you for listening. I hope you have learned something.